Chapter 16. This chapter has one passage peculiar to Matthew, the tribute money demanded of Peter and how he was told to procure it. One might naturally think Matthew's background as a publican prompted this story, but that conclusion would be rash. It is often rightly noted that the didrachma was not Roman tribute but temple dues, and the force of the question to Peter, "Of whom do the kings of the earth take tribute?" turns on this. They were children of him who dwelt in the temple, not strangers or bondsmen. On this reading, Matthew would naturally be the evangelist most likely to record such a conversation, fitting his whole purpose, another illustration of how Christ fulfilled the old dispensation by substantiating the meaning of its forms and holy places. I am not sure I see the special meaning some find in the miracle of the fish. I see in it Christ's general claim over nature, asserted in many ways understandable alongside the draught of fishes and similar acts, but it may carry meanings I cannot perceive. Those who value it merely as more startling than other miracles must ask themselves whether they will explain all miracles by this one, or this one by the others. Chapter 18. I noted earlier that the conversation prompted by "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" is fuller and more varied in Matthew than the others. The little child is common to all. Peculiar to Matthew are the warning about scandals. "In heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven, and it is not the will of your Father which is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish." The first topic clearly follows from the apostles' dispute. Their desire for high places, treating offices as prizes rather than service, was in one form or other the root of all scandals in Christ's kingdom. But where was the test of scandal's existence and its correction? The little child, humblest of creatures, was dear to the Father in heaven, not merely a fallen, corrupted thing. Its angel, its pure original type, ever looked into his face. Bringing it to this state was his will. It was against his will that any such little one lose its high original glory. The Son of Man came to seek and save the lost, to fulfill his Father's will by bringing back the wandering sheep. How fearful, then, the scandals that injure such little ones! How needful to cut off the offending hand or eye. From here the transition is easy to the great law: "If thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. Thou hast gained thy brother." This is the great law of the family, the means of checking its scandals. Christ, the elder brother of the human race, came to establish this family principle as universal. Here Matthew uses ecclesia a second time. Before, we learned the church's foundation, now the principles of its cohesion and the powers threatening it. It holds together by a law of forgiveness and mutual sacrifice. Only when someone utterly resists and renounces this law, despite every warning, is his brother warranted in casting him off as the proud Jew treated heathens and publicans. "Then whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. If two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven." In our disputes over what powers this conveys to priests, we have overlooked the passage's radical principle, that the Son of Man brought heaven and earth under one law. That earth was to have a real kingdom of heaven within it. Here is the true exposition of the church's power and reality, for which certain keys placed in mortal hands would be a poor substitute. Both clauses, taken together with the whole passage, illustrate the deep mystery of human creatures adopted as sons of God by being acknowledged as Christ's brothers, thereby enabled to be perfect as their Father in heaven is perfect, the very mystery of the Sermon on the Mount, which seems to be Matthew's special task to expound. Nowhere is this more strikingly expounded than in this chapter's closing parable, the king settling accounts with his servants, that God's forgiveness is the ground of man's forgiveness, and that God's forgiveness, free and absolute as it is, only reaches a man's heart when it subdues his unbrotherly nature and makes him forgiving, a truth we grasp very imperfectly, and set it not constantly in theory as much as in practice. Chapters 19-20. Nothing new in chapter 19. But its close is inseparably tied to chapter 20's parable, peculiar to Matthew, whose importance for declaring the divine kingdom's nature and rewards cannot be overstated. Peter, like the rich young ruler, faced the same temptation in another form. "What shall we have therefore?" was his thought as much as the ruler's. "Everything," is the answer, "gifts beyond imagining, but the greatest is this: To understand that your calling and work are themselves inconceivable blessings and that the reward following them, the higher at day's end, is something to be shared, not possessed. Regard it as something to have, excluding others for your own sake, and you will never grasp it. My kingdom's nature and meaning will stay hidden from you. Why? Because that kingdom rests on the will of a Father whose eye is good, who sends rain on the just and unjust alike. To be like him, to enter his mind, is the good. This is what the chosen seek. Those who imagine themselves chosen at their brother's expense are merely called. What a lesson for the elect nation! What a deeper, more awful lesson for the elect church.